Assalamu alaikum. This is Mohsin Hamid, and in this tutorial, we will try to learn about the Earth's interior. Our main focus will be on the sources of information regarding the Earth's interior. As you know, that many geological processes shape the Earth's surface, and these processes are caused by many forces that come from both above as well as beneath the Earth's surface. So, the processes that are caused by the forces from within the earth are known as endogenic or endogenetic processes, and the processes that operate on the surface of the earth are termed as exogenic or exogenetic processes. Right? You know that human life is mainly influenced by the physiography of the region that we live in. By physiography, I simply mean man's physical environment. And this environment comprises of many natural features or geomorphological features like mountains, plateaus, lakes, and many other such features. And these features are actually a result of these endogenetic processes. That means the character of these landscapes in which we live in is affected, is influenced by these endogenetic processes. Therefore, it becomes important for us to understand the Earth's interior where such processes take place. Right? And you know that the radius of the Earth is around 6370 kilometers, and with the increase in depth, there is an increase in the rate of temperature as well. Therefore, going beyond a certain limit, going beyond a certain depth is practically impossible. Now, having said that, in all such circumstances, whatever knowledge we are having about the Earth's interior is largely based on indirect sources. They can be estimates or inferences. Correct? So, let us see what these sources actually are. These include the direct sources and indirect sources. Direct sources include, in direct sources we have mining, drilling, and we have volcanic eruptions. Correct? So far as mining and drilling are concerned, they simply reveal the nature of the rocks that lie deep down the surface. But mining or drilling, they're not practically possible beyond a certain depth, isn't? Therefore, they do not reveal much information about the Earth's interior. Correct? For example, we have the deepest mines in the world. We have the Poneng gold mine, or we have the Tautona gold mine. Both lie in South Africa, and they are just around 4 kilometers deep, and we have not been able to go beyond that because of many reasons. Correct? And then, so far as drilling is concerned, many scientific projects were undertaken to understand, to actually drill and recover the Earth's crust beneath the oceans, or simply the oceanic crust. These projects include the Deep Sea Drilling Project, which began in 1968, and it lasted for around 15 odd years till 1983. It actually uh, was involved in drilling the cores of sediment and basaltic crust beneath the oceans. And then we had the Integrated Ocean Drilling Project. It was an international research program which was started in 2003, initially for a period of 10 years. This also used sophisticated ships on which heavy machinery and equipments were mounted, again to sample and drill the ocean floor and then analyze those samplers for further studies. And likewise, we have the deepest drilling uh, of about 12 kilometers deep, and I mean a hole was bored by the former Soviet Union in 1970s over Kola Peninsula, which lies in Arctic region of northwest Russia. So beyond that point, we have not been able to go because of many factors, especially the temperature factor. Now, all these projects have helped us in uh, getting a large volume of information through the analysis of matter that has been collected at various depths. And then we have the volcanic eruptions. You know, whenever a volcano erupts, a lot of matter, a lot of material is thrown out uh, onto the Earth's surface or just beneath the Earth's surface, and this becomes available for the laboratory analysis. But its analysis has not helped us to ascertain the depth of the source of such material, be it magma, be it lava. So we have been unable to get any information so far as the depth of the volcanic matter is concerned. I mean, the source of that matter that comes from deep inside the earth, we have not been able to calculate, or we have not been able to get any kind of information so far as depth of that source is concerned. Then we have the indirect sources, and these include the studies with regard to on the increase in pressure and temperature with depth. We have other sources of which include the sources of Earth's heat that come from the radioactive disintegration. Then we have the meteorites, we have the gravitational surveys, we have the magnetic field surveys, and then the last but not the least, the seismic wave analysis. So far as increase in pressure and temperature depth is concerned, scientists have used the parameters of gravitational and diameter of the earth in order to calculate, to estimate the pressure conditions inside the earth. So many calculations have been made using the gravitation and diameter of the earth in order to deduce the uh, pressure conditions in various, I mean at various depths of the earth. Then we have the volcanic eruptions and existence of hot springs or natural geysers. These are simply the springs or vents from which volumes of hot water and steam is ejected periodically. So these things also refer to an interior which is very hot, correct? Then so far as gravitation force is concerned, you know it varies along the latitudes. It's more at poles than at the equator because of the radius factor. The radius of Earth is more at equator and comparatively lesser at the poles. Therefore, the value of G is different at both these places. And this value of G, it also differs according to the mass of the material. And this mass of the material inside the Earth is not evenly distributed. It is heterogeneous. Correct? And this has helped us in understanding and locating many natural resources that lie inside the earth. So whenever we come across the value of G which is not the expected value and which is not the exact value, and such a difference is known as gravitational anomaly. What does that mean? It means at a place, if the value of G comes A and it should come B but it's not B, therefore such a difference is known as gravitational anomaly. Okay. Then we have the magnetic surveys also. These were undertaken and many information has been gathered so far as the distribution of magnetic materials inside the earth is concerned. It has given us an idea about the earth's magnetic field, okay, because earth in itself is a huge magnet and it possesses magnetic field. So it has given us the possible clues about the earth's interior that can be of that can be composed of iron and many other dense substances. So these magnetic surveys have also helped us in understanding the Earth's interior. And then we have the seismic waves. These are simply the earthquake waves, and among all these indirect sources, it is these seismic waves or earthquake waves that have helped us the most so far as the understanding of interior of the earth is concerned. So what actually these seismic studies include and how do they help in understanding the earth's interior? It is a separate topic. We will try to discuss that in another tutorial, but here let's see what these seismic waves actually are. The seismic or earthquake waves, they are produced during an earthquake and are recorded at different seismographic recording stations, seismographic stations, once these waves reach the earth's surface. Clear? And then the earthquake is an event which is caused due to the release of energy, and that energy produces waves, and those waves travel in all the directions. Clear? Now the question is, why does the earth shake? The shaking of the earth takes place because of release of energy along a fault. And what is a fault? A fault is a sharp break in the crustal rocks or the crustal layer. You see this picture. So far as this plane is concerned, this is known as bedding plane. At once upon a time, this used to be continuous. Clear? But because of certain forces, there has been a displacement. This part has moved down and this part has moved up. And the feature that is produced here, that is created here, is known as a fault. Clear? And likewise, you can see here, this used to be a straight one once upon a time, but because of many forces, there has been a complete displacement. This part has moved left and this part has moved right. So this is what we call as a fault. And these faults can be of many types. We have normal, reverse, or transverse faults. These are produced by different tectonic forces that act on them. We'll try to learn those forces in the subsequent classes. But what's important here is that along these faults, you see these, whenever these faults are created, the rocks tend to move, the planes tend to move in opposite directions. This has moved downwards and this has moved up, or this has moved up and this has moved down. You can see there is sliding also. So in all these faults, what happens is that a force, what we call as frictional force, is created. Okay, and once this frictional force is created, it eventually results in the sliding of the rocks very suddenly, and that sudden sliding of rocks releases energy in the form of earthquake or seismic waves. And once these waves are produced, they move in all the directions. Okay, and in case of earthquakes, you have to remember these points. This point 1 is the focus from which the earthquake begins, and the point that lies directly above this focus on the surface is known as epicenter, and it is this epicenter where the earthquake is felt most strongly. And from this point, these shock waves travel away in all the directions. Okay, so I hope you must have got an idea about these sources of information that help us in getting a better picture of the earth's interior. And why is it important to study to understand the earth's interior? Because it helps us in understanding the structure of earth. The earth's structure comprises of many layers. We'll try to get into that later. And understanding the earth's interior helps us in getting that picture of the earth, the interior side of earth. Then we come to learn about the many geophysical phenomena that take place inside the earth, for example volcanoes, earthquakes. Besides that, we have been able to understand the earth's magnetic field it possesses, And studying Earth's interior has helped us in understanding the internal structure of other solar system objects, because all the celestial bodies are believed to have originated from a common parent. And then the composition of atmosphere, it owes its existence to volcanic eruptions. And then the last but not the least, its understanding, has helped us for mineral exploration. So I hope you might have now got an idea uh, uh, so far as the Earth's interior is concerned. So in the next chapter, we'll try to learn what are the seismic waves, what are their types, and how do they help us in understanding the Earth's interior. So thank you very much.